Have you ever looked at your dinner plate and wondered, is everything here really helping me feel my best? For most of us, vegetables have always been a symbol of health. We've been told to eat our greens since childhood. They're in every healthy eating guide, every nutritionist's plan, and every doctor's checklist. But as we get older, something surprising happens. Our bodies begin to respond differently to the very foods that once seemed so harmless. The truth is, some vegetables, especially for those of us over 60, may quietly do more harm than good. They could be raising your blood sugar, straining your kidneys, or triggering joint pain, and you might not even know it. That's why today we're diving into a list of 10 vegetables that seniors should approach with caution. Now don't worry, this isn't about fear or giving up the foods you love. It's about learning how your aging body interacts with certain nutrients so you can make simple adjustments and feel your best every day. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll not only know which vegetables may be causing trouble, but also how to prepare or replace them in ways that support your joints, your digestion, and your overall energy. Let's start with one that's likely sitting in your freezer right now. 1. Peas, the sweet little green that can cause big trouble. They're tiny, they're sweet, and they show up in everything from soups to casseroles. But those cheerful little peas, they're not always as gentle as they seem, especially for older adults. You see, peas have a surprisingly high glycemic load. That means once they hit your digestive system, they're broken down into sugar quickly, much faster than leafy greens or non-starchy vegetables. And for seniors whose insulin sensitivity naturally decreases with age, this can be a serious issue. Frequent spikes in blood sugar, followed by crashes, can lead to fatigue, weight gain, and over time, a greater risk of developing or worsening type 2 diabetes. If you've been noticing afternoon energy slumps or sugar cravings not long after meals, peas might be playing a quiet role. But that's not the only concern. Peas are also rich in compounds called purines. When purines break down in the body, they form uric acid. Normally, that's not a problem. But for seniors, excess uric acid can collect in the joints, especially in the feet, and lead to painful gout flare-ups. Even if you've never had gout, elevated uric acid can slowly contribute to kidney stones or worsen inflammation that's already affecting your joints. And then there's digestion. As we get older, our bodies produce fewer enzymes to break down complex fibers and starches. Peas contain resistant starches and lectins, plant compounds that are tough to digest and may cause bloating, gas, or even mild cramping. If you've ever had a healthy meal with peas and felt oddly uncomfortable afterward, you're not imagining it. Your body might just be having a harder time processing them now than it did 20 years ago. Let's be clear, peas aren't a bad food, but if you're over 60 and dealing with blood sugar issues, gout, kidney concerns, or digestive discomfort, it might be time to treat them more like a treat, something enjoyed occasionally in small amounts, not a daily staple. You can also try soaking and cooking them thoroughly, which helps reduce some of the lectins and makes them easier on your stomach. Have you ever noticed feeling a little off after eating peas? Share your experience in the comments. I'd really love to hear how your body has changed over the whitey. It's no surprise that asparagus is often praised as a super vegetable. It's low in calories, rich in antioxidants, and packed with vitamins like A, C, E, and K. You'll find it recommended in anti-aging plans, weight loss programs, and heart-healthy diets alike. But what most people over 60 aren't told is this. Even superfoods can have hidden side effects when the body begins to change with age. And asparagus, for all its virtues, might be doing more behind the scenes than you realize. Let's start with something many people overlook. Its purin content. Just like peas, asparagus is relatively high in purines. When these purines break down in the body, they turn into uric acid. And in seniors, especially those with slower kidney function or a history of joint pain, excess uric acid can settle in the joints and trigger painful inflammation. This is the hallmark of gout, and it's more common than you might think in older adults. So if you've been experiencing stiffness in your toes or knees, especially in the morning or after a meal that included asparagus, it may not just be old age. Your diet could be adding fuel to the fire. But asparagus isn't only inflammatory, it's also a natural diuretic. Now for younger people or those with fluid retention issues, that sounds like a benefit. But for older adults, diuretics can cause the body to lose more fluids than it can afford. After the age of 60, the body retains less water and the sensation of thirst becomes less reliable. That means seniors are more likely to become dehydrated without even realizing it. Dehydration can lead to more than just thirst. It can cause fatigue, muscle cramps, dizziness, and mental fog. It can even impair kidney function, putting stress on an organ that may already be working harder with age. Combine that with asparagus' impact on uric acid levels, and you have a recipe for joint pain, sluggishness, and strain on your kidneys. Another subtle clue? If you've ever noticed that you feel more tired or achy after eating asparagus regularly, this might be your body's way of asking for a break. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to give up asparagus completely, but it does mean it's important to be mindful. Try pairing asparagus with plenty of water-rich foods like cucumber or watermelon and drink an extra glass of water with that meal. And if you're managing gout, arthritis, or kidney concerns, it might be wise to limit your intake and explore other green veggies that are gentler on the system, like zucchini, green beans, or steamed spinach in moderation. Remember, what helps at 30 doesn't always help at 70. Your body's needs evolve, and listening to those changes is one of the most powerful health tools you have. 3. Corn, the comfort food that quietly spikes blood sugar. Corn is woven into the fabric of American life. Whether it's buttery corn on the cob at a summer cookout or a cozy bowl of popcorn on movie night, this familiar favorite brings joy and nostalgia. But for older adults, corn may not be as harmless as it seems, and the sweet flavor can hide some troubling effects. First, let's talk about digestion. Corn contains cellulose, a type of insoluble fiber that the human digestive system can't fully break down. You've likely seen undigested corn in your stool before. It's not just a quirk, it's a clue. As we age, our digestion naturally slows down, and the enzymes we rely on to break down food become less active. For many seniors, this makes corn harder to process, leading to gas, bloating, or constipation. But that's only part of the picture. Corn is surprisingly high on the glycemic index, meaning it converts to sugar rapidly in your bloodstream. For people over 60, especially those managing diabetes, prediabetes, or insulin resistance, this can create dangerous spikes and crashes in blood sugar. These fluctuations don't just affect energy levels. Over time, they may contribute to nerve damage, vision problems, and even kidney strain. And it's not just the fresh kernels you need to watch. Corn is found in everything from breakfast cereals to salad dressings, often in its most refined form, high fructose corn syrup. These hidden sugars put even more pressure on the pancreas and kidneys, increasing the risk of long-term complications. Modern corn also raises concerns about pesticides and genetic modification. Most corn crops in the U.S. are genetically modified and heavily sprayed with chemicals like glyphosate, which has been linked to gut microbiome disruption and chronic inflammation. For older adults whose bodies already struggle to detoxify efficiently, these exposures can build up and cause harm. If you enjoy corn, it doesn't mean you need to eliminate it entirely, but awareness and moderation matter. Choose organic, non-GMO corn when possible, and opt for whole, minimally processed forms. Swapping out corn-based snacks for lower glycemic options like carrots, roasted chickpeas, or cucumber slices can help protect your energy, joints, and blood sugar balance. 4. Mushrooms, nature's sponge, that may be soaking up trouble. Mushrooms often wear the badge of superfood with pride. They're low in calories, rich in antioxidants, and praised for their potential to support immunity and even brain function. For many older adults aiming to eat clean and boost longevity, mushrooms seem like a smart choice. But there's another side to this popular ingredient, one that deserves a closer look. What makes mushrooms unique can also make them risky. You see, mushrooms act like sponges in nature. They don't just absorb water and nutrients. They also soak up everything in the soil around them, including heavy metals, pesticides, and environmental toxins. If mushrooms are grown in contaminated soil or poorly regulated farms, they can carry trace amounts of lead, arsenic, or cadmium into your kitchen. Over time, and especially as we age, These toxins can accumulate in the body, straining the kidneys and potentially affecting brain health. Even store-bought mushrooms aren't immune to this issue, depending on where and how they're grown. Organic, carefully sourced mushrooms are a safer bet, but many people aren't aware of the difference. Then there's a little-known compound called agaritine, found particularly in white button mushrooms. While the research is still developing, some animal studies suggest agaritine may have carcinogenic properties if consumed in large quantities over time, especially when the mushrooms are raw or only lightly cooked. This is a concern for people who enjoy tossing raw slices into salads or undercooking them in stir-fries. Mushrooms can also cause digestive or immune reactions. They're a common allergen, and older adults sometimes develop sensitivities later in life without realizing it. If you've experienced bloating, itchy skin, or sinus congestion after eating mushrooms, they might be playing a role. The body's immune response becomes more delicate with age, and fungal proteins can sometimes trigger inflammation in ways we don't expect. Does this mean you need to say goodbye to mushrooms? Not necessarily, but here's how to enjoy them more safely. Always cook mushrooms thoroughly. Sautéing or roasting helps break down agaritine and softens their tough fibers. Choose organic varieties when possible, and avoid over-relying on raw mushrooms in your diet. Your body changes with time, and what once seemed harmless may no longer serve you the same way. Being mindful about how and where your food is grown isn't being picky, it's being proactive about your health. 5. Cabbage, healthy for some, harmful for others. Cabbage has long been a symbol of good health. Whether it's tossed in a salad, simmered in a soup, or fermented into sauerkraut, this humble leafy green is often recommended for heart health, weight management, and digestion. But for many older adults, cabbage may not be as gentle as it seems. The first hidden issue lies in its effect on the thyroid. Cabbage belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, which includes broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. These vegetables contain compounds called goitrogens, which can interfere with how your body uses iodine, a mineral your thyroid needs to function properly. For older adults with hypothyroidism or a slow metabolism, large amounts of raw cabbage can make symptoms worse, leading to fatigue, feeling cold, mental fog, or even weight gain. The second challenge is in digestion. Cabbage is rich in raffinose, a type of carbohydrate that ferments in the gut. For aging digestive systems, which may produce less stomach acid and fewer digestive enzymes, this can mean bloating, gas, or cramping after eating cabbage, especially when it's raw. These reactions are easy to overlook. You might chalk it up to aging or assume it was something else in your meal. But if you frequently experience stomach discomfort after a cabbage-filled meal, it might be worth reconsidering how you prepare it. So should you give up cabbage entirely? Not at all. There are safer ways to enjoy its health benefits without the drawbacks. One great option is fermented cabbage, like sauerkraut or kimchi. Not only does fermentation reduce goitrogens, it also introduces probiotics that support healthy digestion and help rebalance your gut. Cooking cabbage is another smart choice. Boiling, steaming, or sautéing it helps break down the compounds that cause gas and makes it gentler on your stomach. The key, especially for those with thyroid concerns or sensitive digestion, is moderation and preparation. A raw cabbage slaw every now and then might be fine. But if you're eating cabbage regularly, opt for cooked or fermented forms and notice how your body responds. As we age, paying attention to how food makes us feel isn't just about comfort. It's about staying strong, sharp, and active for the years ahead. 6. Eggplant, a comfort food that might be fueling. Inflammation, eggplant often earns praise in Mediterranean and Asian cuisines. It's hearty, satisfying, and versatile, absorbing flavors beautifully in dishes like ratatouille or stir-fries. But for many seniors, eggplant may quietly be contributing to problems that seem unrelated, like joint pain, bloating, or kidney discomfort. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, a group of vegetables that includes tomatoes, bell peppers, and white potatoes. These foods contain a compound called solanine, a natural chemical that helps the plant defend itself. But in sensitive individuals, especially those with arthritis, gout, or autoimmune issues, Solanine can act as a trigger. It may cause inflammation, joint stiffness, or pain that lingers longer than usual after a meal. If you've noticed that your knees or fingers seem more achy the day after a big eggplant dinner, your body might be trying to tell you something. Eggplant also contains oxalates, compounds that can contribute to kidney stones in those who are susceptible. For people with a history of stones or early kidney disease, frequent eggplant consumption might silently be increasing the risk. And there's more. Eggplant's tough skin and tiny seeds can be rough on the digestive tract, especially for those with acid reflux, IBS, or slow digestion. This can result in bloating, indigestion, or even a sour stomach after eating. In some cases, eggplant may also cause mild allergic reactions, like itching around the mouth or a scratchy throat, symptoms that are easy to overlook. So should you stop enjoying eggplant altogether? Not necessarily. Here's how to make it safer and more comfortable to eat. Always cook it thoroughly. Baking, roasting, or grilling helps break down solanine and makes the vegetable easier to digest. Peel the skin before cooking if you have a sensitive stomach. Limit how often you eat it, especially if you struggle with joint issues or kidney health. Eggplant can still be part of a balanced diet. It just takes a little more mindfulness. For seniors trying to stay active and pain-free, recognizing how your body responds to specific foods can make a noticeable difference. 7. Potatoes, the hidden blood sugar bomb, masquerading as comfort food. For many of us, potatoes are a source of comfort. Mashed, baked, roasted, or turned into golden fries, potatoes are woven into the fabric of American meals. But beneath their warm, familiar taste lies a hidden danger for older adults: rapid blood sugar spikes and silent inflammation. Here's the truth most people don't hear. Potatoes have one of the highest glycemic indexes of any food. That means your body breaks them down into sugar very quickly, flooding your bloodstream with glucose shortly after you eat them. For seniors, especially those with type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or insulin resistance, this can cause major problems. The body struggles to manage these sugar surges, leading to sudden fatigue after eating, weight gain around the belly, difficulty concentrating or staying energized, long-term damage to nerves, kidneys, and eyesight. Even seemingly healthier versions, like baked potatoes, can trigger these spikes if eaten without the skin or in large portions. And when potatoes are fried, things get even worse. High-heat cooking creates acrylamides, chemicals linked to inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which can speed up the aging process and worsen joint pain. If you're dealing with arthritis, chronic pain, or stiffness, frequent potato consumption, especially in fried form, could be making those symptoms harder to manage. There's also a lesser-known risk. Repeated blood sugar spikes don't just exhaust your pancreas. They put pressure on your kidneys, especially if you're already at risk for diabetic kidney disease. It's a quiet strain that builds over time. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up potatoes entirely. Here's how to enjoy them wisely. Choose sweet potatoes instead. They have more fiber, a lower glycemic load, and are rich in antioxidants like beta-carotene. Keep the skin on to slow down digestion and sugar release. Boil or bake rather than fry. Watch your portion sizes. A small serving goes a long way. Comfort food doesn't have to cost you your health. With a few smart adjustments, you can still enjoy the warmth and tradition of potatoes without the side effects. 8. Spinach, the superfood that may quietly harm your kidneys. Spinach has long been celebrated as a nutritional powerhouse. Rich in vitamin K, magnesium, iron, and antioxidants, it's often one of the first foods recommended for brain health, heart strength, and immune support. But if you're over 60, eating too much spinach, especially raw, could quietly be doing more harm than good. Let's take a closer look. Spinach contains a high level of oxalates, natural compounds that bind with calcium in the body. When this happens inside your kidneys, the result can be calcium oxalate kidney stones, the most common and painful type of stone. If you've ever experienced a stone, you know the pain can be overwhelming. But even if you haven't, excess oxalate can still interfere with kidney function over time. What's more, oxalates can reduce your body's ability to absorb calcium, which is especially concerning for seniors. After 50, maintaining bone strength becomes critical to avoiding fractures and osteoporosis. Ironically, the very food you thought was strengthening your bones could be weakening them if you're not careful. And here's something else to consider. Many people drink daily green smoothies loaded with raw spinach, thinking it's the healthiest habit in the world. But in older adults, high oxalate intake without enough calcium or water can silently raise the risk of kidney stones and nutrient deficiencies. So what can you do? Don't ditch spinach entirely, but prepare it smartly. Boil or steam it to slash oxalate levels dramatically. Cooking helps neutralize some of the compounds that stress your kidneys. Pair spinach with calcium-rich foods like yogurt, cheese, or fortified plant-based milks to block oxalate absorption. Limit raw spinach smoothies, especially if you drink them daily. Hydrate well, aim for at least 6 to 8 glasses of water a day to keep your kidneys flushing effectively. If you have a history of kidney stones, weak bones, or notice signs like back pain, fatigue, or urinary changes, it's worth talking to your doctor about your oxalate intake. Spinach still has a place at the table, but like many things in life, the key is balance, not excess. 9. Kale, the superfood that might not be so super for seniors. Kale has been crowned the king of clean eating. You'll find it in everything from green juices to gourmet salads to crunchy chips. And for good reason, it's packed with vitamin C, calcium, fiber, and powerful antioxidants that fight inflammation and help protect cells from aging. But here's what most people don't know. For older adults, eating too much kale, especially raw, can quietly create new health problems, particularly for your thyroid and kidneys. Let's start with the thyroid. Kale belongs to the cruciferous family alongside cabbage and broccoli. These veggies contain goitrogens, natural compounds that can interfere with your thyroid's ability to absorb iodine. And iodine is essential for producing thyroid hormones that regulate everything from your metabolism to your mood. If your thyroid slows down, you may start to feel tired all the time, gain weight more easily, feel unusually cold, or even experience memory fog. Sound familiar? Many seniors chalk up these symptoms to just aging, but sometimes a sluggish thyroid is being nudged along by an overload of raw kale. Now let's talk about your kidneys. Like spinach, kale is also high in oxalates, especially when eaten raw. These compounds can bind with calcium and form kidney stones, a painful and surprisingly common condition in older adults. Seniors are already more prone to reduced kidney function, so a daily kale smoothie might not be as kidney-friendly as it seems. Even if you've never had a kidney stone, consistently high oxalate intake can make it harder for your body to absorb calcium where it's needed, in your bones, potentially increasing your risk of fractures over time. So what's the solution? It's not about removing kale entirely. It's about preparing it wisely and listening to how your body responds. Here are some simple ways to make kale safer and easier to enjoy. Cook it. Lightly steaming or sautéing. Kale helps neutralize goitrogens and lowers oxalate levels. Don't overdo raw kale in smoothies or salads. Rotate it with gentler greens like romaine, butter lettuce, or arugula. If you have thyroid issues or a history of kidney stones, talk to your doctor or dietitian before making kale a daily habit. Add iodine-rich foods to your diet, like seaweed, fish, or iodized salt, if your doctor says it's safe, to support thyroid function. Kale can absolutely be part of a healthy lifestyle, but only when it works with your body, not against it. 10. Bell peppers, a colorful favorite that may not agree with your body. They're bright, crunchy, and often the most cheerful thing on your dinner plate. Bell peppers, whether red, yellow, green, or orange, are widely loved for their sweet flavor and their reputation as a healthy, vitamin-packed vegetable. They're rich in vitamin C, beta-carotene, and fiber, and they add color and freshness to just about any dish. But for some older adults, these vibrant veggies can also bring along a few unwelcome surprises. One of the main issues is their tough outer skin. While it helps give peppers their crisp texture, it's also difficult to digest, especially as we age. Our stomachs tend to produce less acid and fewer enzymes over time, making it harder to break down that fibrous skin. This can lead to uncomfortable symptoms like bloating, gas, or acid reflux, not immediately after the meal, but sometimes hours later, leaving us wondering what went wrong. If you've noticed you feel gassy, bloated, or even mildly nauseous after a dish that included bell peppers, your body might be telling you it's struggling to digest them properly. Another lesser-known concern is that bell peppers belong to the nightshade family, along with eggplants, tomatoes, and white potatoes. These vegetables contain a natural chemical called solanine, which can trigger inflammation in people who are sensitive, especially those with arthritis, joint pain, or autoimmune conditions. If your knees or hands feel more swollen the day after a stir-fry or salad packed with peppers, it might not be a coincidence. For some older adults, reducing nightshades leads to noticeably less stiffness and better mobility. And there's one more thing to keep in mind: food sensitivities. While true bell pepper allergies are rare, mild sensitivities are more common than many people realize, especially later in life. Symptoms can include headaches, sinus pressure, skin rashes, or vague digestive upset that's hard to pinpoint. So what should you do? You don't have to give up bell peppers entirely, but a few gentle adjustments can make a big difference. Roast or peel them. Roasting softens their fibers and removes the skin, making them easier to digest and less likely to cause discomfort. Cook them thoroughly. Raw bell peppers are more irritating to the stomach. Cooking helps break down the tough compounds. Listen to your joints. If you notice more inflammation or stiffness after eating peppers, consider swapping them for other vitamin C-rich vegetables like zucchini, carrots, or broccoli. Bell peppers can still be part of your meals, but only if they're helping you feel better, not worse. Aging well means paying attention to how your body responds, even to foods once considered harmless. And sometimes, a small shift in how we prepare our meals can lead to big improvements in how we feel day to day. A gentle reminder: knowledge is power, especially as we age. So there you have it, 10 vegetables that, while often praised for their health benefits, may not always agree with the unique needs of our bodies as we grow older. From sugar-spiking peas and kidney-stressing spinach to bloating-triggering cabbage and inflammation-causing bell peppers, these foods can carry unexpected risks when eaten too often or prepared the wrong way. But here's what matters most: you don't need to fear your food. You simply need to understand it better. As we age, our metabolism slows, digestion becomes more sensitive, and our kidneys and joints need a little extra care. Some vegetables that once felt energizing in our 30s or 40s may now feel heavy, irritating, or draining. That's not a failure, it's just biology shifting with time. The good news is, small changes go a long way. By cooking instead of eating raw, limiting portion sizes, or swapping in gentler alternatives like romaine instead of kale, or sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes, you can protect your energy, your digestion, your joints, and your overall sense of well-being. It's about listening to your body, not blindly following health trends. And most of all, it's about finding what works best for you. You're in control, and your health isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Choosing the right foods in the right way, at the right time, that's the real superpower. Let's talk. Was there a vegetable on this list that surprised you? Have you ever felt bloated after eating spinach or noticed joint stiffness after a bowl of chili with bell peppers? Drop a comment below. Your experience might help someone else feel less alone and a little more empowered. And if you found this video eye-opening, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need this message. We're here to support you with real, practical, and age-smart guidance, because you deserve to feel good in your body no matter what age you're at. Thank you for being here. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and keep thriving.